done my 7 rows of unjoined single crochet, what we're going to do is we're going to join this 7th row, so into that stitch from the beginning of the row, so just there, above that chain 1 and beside that first stitch, we're going to slip stitch to close the round. So just like that. And there's your thumb hole. So what we're going to do next is we're going to chain up 1 and turn the work, and now we're going to start the increases for the knuckles. So to do that, we're going to, for the first row, so we're going to do 3 rounds of increases. So the first round will be 2 single crochets into every second stitch to the count of 14. So what I mean by that is 1 single crochet into the first stitch, then into the second stitch, so stitch 2, and then another one into 2, then 1 single crochet into 3, then 4 and 4, so 2 into 4, then 1 into 5, then 6, 6, so 2 into 6. So you're going to do that till you get to 14, and so you're going to put 2 stitches into the 14th stitch. Once you reach that point, we're going to meet back up and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Okay, so here I am, and I've put my 2 stitches into that 14th stitch. So now it's just a single crochet into every stitch until the end of the round, and there should be 14 more stitches left to go. So count that till the end of the round, and once you get to the end of the round you will have a stitch count of 35. So a stitch count of 35. I'll meet you at the end of the round and we'll talk about the next round. Alright, here I am at the end of the round, and once again we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 1 from the beginning. So just into there, beside the first stitch, into the top of that chain 1 to close the round, and now I have a stitch count of 35. So for the next round we're going to once again chain up 1 and turn the work, and then this is the same as the previous round. So you're going to be putting 2 single crochets into every second stitch up to the 14th stitch. So remember that's 1 and 2, 2, 3, 4, 4 up to 14. Then once you've done that, you'll just put a single crochet into the remaining stitches to the end of the round, and for the end, well, for this round you'll end up with 42 stitches. Then once we get to the end of this round, we're going to meet back up and we're going to talk about how to do our final increase round. Alright, here we are at the end of the round, and once again we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 1 from the beginning to join the round, close the round. Now for our last round of increase we're going to again chain up 1 and turn the work. Then we're going to be putting 2 single crochets into every stitch, but this time just to the count of 12. So again it's 1, 2, 2, and so on till you get to the count of 12. Then you're going to finish up the remaining stitches, so by the end of this round you'll have a stitch count of 48. So once we've done that, we'll have finished the increases for the knuckles, and it's going to be time to start work on the fingers. So I'll meet you at that point and we'll go from there. Okay, see you soon. Alright, now that I've finished that final round of increase for the knuckles and I have a stitch count of 48, I've also marked out the 6th stitch along on this side of the join, and you'll see why in a moment. So we're going to start work on the index finger of the glove. So to do that, we're going to chain up 1 and turn. Now we're going to be working with 12 stitches per finger. So what you're going to do at the first finger, you're going to single crochet 6 across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the reason I marked out the 6th one along from here, so counting back from the join, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. What we're going to do now, straight from here, is we're going to sort of turn the glove like this, so that we'll be able to put a single crochet straight from the last stitch just here into that 6th one from the end that we've marked out. So slightly awkwardly, but it's totally doable, don't worry. Insert your hook through that stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, single crochet, and there we go. Try and keep that as tight as you can. You can take out that stitch marker now, and then there should be 5 stitches left till the end of this round. So we're going to put in 1, and then 2, 3, 4, and that last one just there, 5. So there we've completed the first round of our first index finger. So what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 1, just like we normally do to close the round. So where are we? There we go. To close the round, slip stitch. So there we go. Now we've got our 12 stitches for our finger. So all we do now is we chain up 1, we turn the work, and we single crochet our 12 back in the other direction until we've completed 6 rounds. So once we've completed 6 rounds, we're going to meet back up and we're going to talk about how to do the remaining fingers. Because after this we are going to have to cut the yarn and tie it off. Yeah, and then we'll get started on the other fingers. Okay, see you soon. Alright, now that I've completed my 6 rounds for the finger, 6 rounds of single crochet, what we're going to do is we're going to find our scissors and we're going to cut the yarn. So trim that yarn, and just like that. And then we're going to yarn over and just pull that loose end through to tie it off. Just like that. Alright, so we've done our first finger. Now we're going to move on to our remaining 3 fingers at the top. So to do that, what we do is we move to the next stitch along at the front here. So try not, make sure you don't get it into the stitch that you've already gone into for that index finger. You're going to move into the next stitch along, I'm going to move into the next stitch along. So put your hook through that stitch and grab the end, or grab a fresh piece of yarn, and we're going to make another slip knot. So making a slip knot, you're going to adjust that knot to the hook and pull it tight. Then pull that knot through, or pull that loop through that stitch. Then you're going to chain up 1, and you're going to put a single crochet next to that slip knot. So single crochet just there next to that chain of 1 and that slip knot. And so that's number 1, then you're going to be working 6 across, so 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And just like before, you're turning to the back, so turn around to the back, shove that down in there so it's out of the way. Annoying loose end. So yes, turning to the back, try not to lose your stitch, and you're going to count 6 back from the last stitch on the back that you've done. So making sure not to get that stitch just that you've already gone into, counting 6 back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's that 6th one just there, and you're going to single crochet right into that 6th one along on the back. So just like that. It can be a little fiddly, but persevere and it's going to be okay. So there we go. And there should be 5 remaining stitches for this thing, or for this round. So 1 and 2 3, 4, and there is number 5. Do you know, this is way less fiddly than the smaller version that we did, but that I did before for the female hand size gloves. Yeah, 12 stitches is easier than 10. Anyway, so now we've reached the end of the round. We're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 1 to close the round. And just like the last finger, you're going to chain up 1, and turn the work. Single crochets in the other direction, 12. Once you get to the end of that 12, you're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 1, chain up 1, turn the work, single crochets again until you've completed 6 rounds. And you're going to do exactly the same as this for the next finger. And for the last finger, you're obviously not going to have to, turn and count back, because you're just going to continue to complete the finger around at the end there. And that's how we do these fingers at the top. So once we've done that, we're going to meet back up again, and we're going to talk about how to do the thumb. Okay, see you soon. Alright, now that I've finished my fingers at the top, so they're all done and they're all tied off, we're going to start work on the thumb. And to do that, we're going to be distributing, to begin with, we're going to distribute 14 single crochets around the row ends of the thumb hole. So starting on this side, so with the fingers facing up this way, you're going to find your first row end to go into. So there'll be 7 row ends on each side, on both sides. So put our hook through the first row end, find the end of our yarn again and make another slip knot. So making another slip knot, adjust the knot to your hook, pull through the row end, pull tight, then we chain 1 and we put a single crochet into that same row end that we just put our slip knot through. So that'll be 1. Then moving on to the next row end, so the next one, that will be 2. And then next along will be 3. So working 7 down this side, so 4, where are we, 5, 6, and 1 down the bottom here, 7. So there is number 7, and then you're going to work 7 more up the other side till you have 14 around. So I'll meet you when you've done that. Alright, and here I am, and I've put my 14 single crochets around. So now I'm just going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 1 from the beginning to close the round. Now, what I'm going to do next is, so I'm going to decrease to 12 stitches, because 14 is way too much, but we're going to do that 1 round at a time. So to begin with, for the next round, we're going to chain up 1 and turn, and to decrease, we're going to put a single crochet into the first stitch along, so that's that one there, so 1, and then we're going to single crochet the second and the third stitches together. So to do that, you go into the second stitch, pull up a loop, and go into the third stitch, pull up a loop, then yarn over, and all 3 of those loops together. So that's 2 and 3 together, and then you just finish the remaining stitches to the end of the round. So by the end of this round, you'll have 13 stitches. And then when you get to the end of the round and you have your 13 stitches, you're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 1 to close the round. You're going to chain up 1, turn, and do the same as you did just now. So you're going to single crochet into the first stitch, single crochet the second and the third stitches together, so that when you finish up the next round, you'll be left with 12 stitches. And then you're just going to complete the remaining rounds until you have 6 rounds all up, including the original one. So yeah, that's how you're doing it. And then you finish the thumb, everything's going to be finished, and yes, then we'll be finished. And I think at that stage we will be able to find a guy to try on our gloves. We're going to see how they look. I think they're going to look pretty good. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. if you're familiar with the original smaller size glove, you'll know this is just exactly the same, just with more stitches. So yeah, thank you for watching. I will see you again shortly. Okay, so here are the finished gloves. So as you can see, very, very simple design, and if you've made the girls version, you'll know that it's pretty much exactly the same. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and thanks for watching. See you next time.